We're talking about one of the longest, most brutal conventional wars of the 20th century. But here's the crazy part. What if I told you that after 8 long years of just absolute devastation, it ended right back where it started? Let's just start with a number. 1 million. That's the estimated number of people, both soldiers and civilians, who died. Just let that sink in for a second. That one figure alone tells you everything you need to know about the scale of what we're about to dive into. So you have all this bloodshed. And for what? The war ends in a complete stalemate. I mean, 8 years of trench warfare, chemical attacks, unbelievable destruction, and nobody won. Nothing changed. It just became this horrific, grinding meat grinder. And that's the big question we're tackling here. How? How does that even happen? So to figure that out, we're going to break it all down. We'll look at how a war this devastating could just fizzle out into a draw, and how its legacy is still playing out in huge ways today. All right, so let's get right to it. What actually lit the fuse here? This wasn't some simple border argument. Not at all. This was a head-on collision between two incredibly powerful leaders, each with a totally different idea of what the Middle East should look like. And this slide really gets to the heart of it. You've got Saddam's Iraq over here, secular, Arab nationalist run by the Sunni minority. And then you have Khomeini's Iran, a brand new, Shia-led Islamic republic that literally wanted to export its revolution everywhere. I mean, you couldn't have two more opposite worldviews. They were on a collision course from day one. And man, things escalated fast. Look at this timeline. 1979 is the key year. You have the Iranian Revolution and Saddam cementing his power in Iraq happening at basically the same time. Saddam looks over at Iran, sees all this revolutionary chaos, and thinks, this is my chance. He was terrified that Khomeini's message would spread to Iran's own Shia majority, so he didn't wait. On September 22nd, 1980, the invasion began. But here's the thing. The invasion in 1980, it wasn't just about what happened in 79. No. To really get why this war was so unbelievably brutal, you have to zoom way, way out. We're talking centuries of bad blood that set the stage for everything. And right at the center of the land dispute is this one waterway, the Shatt al-Arab. Basically, it's where the Tigris and Euphrates rivers come together before they hit the Persian Gulf. For Iraq, this tiny stretch of water is everything. It's pretty much their only way to get ships out to the open sea. So you can imagine control over this thing has been a major, major point of tension for, well, forever. But it was so much more than just a fight over a river. You've got these ancient rivalries going back to the Ottoman and Persian empires. You've got deep ethnic tension between Arabs and Persians. And then there's the big one, the religious divide between Iraq's Sunni government and Iran's Shia theocracy. At the end of the day, Saddam's biggest fear was that Iran's revolution would light a fire under Iraq's own Shia population and cause a massive uprising. Okay, so fast forward 8 years. The guns finally fall silent. But the real story, the consequences of this war, were really just getting started. It left these deep, permanent scars on both countries and, frankly, the whole region. I mean, the fallout was just catastrophic. We're talking a lost generation, totally ruined economies. But check out that last point, because it's absolutely crucial. Iraq came out of this war with a mountain of debt. A lot of it owed to its tiny, super-rich neighbor, Kuwait. And that desperation for cash, it leads directly to the next major war in the region. And don't just take my word for it. The link is crystal clear. This quote from a research journal says it flat out. The 1990 Gulf War was a direct result of the mess left over from the Iran-Iraq War. The seeds for that next conflict were planted right here. Okay, so now we get to the part of the story that is genuinely wild. The most unexpected twist. After everything we've talked about, all the history, all the death, the relationship between these two enemies, it does a complete 180. Something nobody saw coming. So what was the big game changer? The 2003 US-led invasion of Iraq. Think about it. The invasion gets rid of Saddam Hussein, who was Iran's #1 enemy for decades. That one move completely flips the balance of power on its head, leaving this huge power vacuum. And guess who was right there, ready to step in? Iran. And look at where things are today. It's not just a truce, it's this deep, complicated relationship. Iran has huge political sway in Iraq. Economically, Iraq literally needs Iranian gas and electricity to function. Security-wise, militias backed by Iran were key to fighting ISIS. And on top of all that, you have millions of Iranians traveling to holy sites in Iraq. I mean, can you believe that? It's an absolutely stunning reversal.
So, where does that leave Iraq today? Well, in a really, really tough spot. It's basically walking a tightrope. On one side, you have its incredibly powerful neighbor, Iran. On the other side, you have its strategic partner, the United States. It's a constant balancing act.
And that brings us to the final question, which is really the lasting legacy of this whole war. The fighting might have stopped back in 1988, but the shockwaves, they're still being felt. They basically set the stage for all the power struggles we see in the region today. So, can Iraq find a stable path forward, or is it always going to be stuck in the middle? It's a question that, honestly, the entire Middle East is still waiting to have answered.